If you've seen any of my videos, you know that I am moving abroad in 2026 and that this has been a lifelong dream of mine since I was a little kid. And in this video, I want to kind of explore the reason why that is and the question that made me realize I actually have to do this. Like so many people, this was always just something in the back of my head for a long time. I wanted to do it, but I knew I probably wouldn't. When I was in college, I would be like, I'm probably just gonna get a job, I'm gonna buy a house, I'm gonna get married, and I'm just gonna be stuck. You meet a boy, or you have a boyfriend, or you have a relationship, and then you just kind of feel like, well, now I can't leave. And if I do, it's going to be years down the line. Or if you get a new job, you just feel like things continuously happen that push that dream away. With moving abroad, though, sometimes when you're asking people for advice, a lot of times you're kind of asking for permission. When you're asking or talking about moving abroad, you're never going to get that satisfaction of the approval that you're looking for. People don't want you to go. People are not going to be like, yeah, get out of here. Yeah, I don't want you here anyway. They're going to miss you. They don't want to have you move across the world and only see you every year, every few years. That's really hard for people. And there's a level of grief that comes with that. But they also don't want you to not live your dreams. So when you hear advice from people or you're trying to get that approval, you're always going to be kind of faced with well, I don't want you to go, but I know this is your dream, so go and do it. So it's not satisfying because you're hurting people. So even though you're seeking this permission from others, you're never going to get that unless you can give it to yourself. And I had been doing that for a while. I was talking to people about it, but I don't think anybody truly believed that I was going to do it. And I also didn't really believe that I was going to do it either. But there was this moment, this one thing that kind of happened that made me realize I have to do this. It completely snapped me out of the mindset of I'm going to be stuck here forever. I'm never going to experience this dream. This one thing made me rethink what truly matters to me and everything I thought I knew about myself. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the real reason why I decided I have to leave the US despite all of the discomfort and the fear that comes with it. The one thing that changed everything and how it set me up for the path that I'm on now. So I'm sure a lot of you seeing the title of this video may think that my reasons for wanting to leave the US are political. And I can tell you that is absolutely not the case for me. I understand why people want to do that. It's pretty much why people always emigrate and immigrate in the first place. A lot of our ancestors did the same thing. They came to the US for political reasons or to leave certain situations. So I get it. For me, it has always been about adventure and curiosity. I didn't know anything about politics when I was 5 years old watching Madeline and dreaming about experiencing Paris. So for me, the idea of fulfilling a dream of moving abroad is so much more than that because ever since I was young, I've wanted to explore. I was very curious and I want to understand the way things work and I want to immerse myself in the discomfort so that I can become a better person and have all of these skills and experiences under my belt. And because of that, I'm very much a jack of all trades. I have done a lot, I have learned a lot, and I can do a lot. The fun part for me is learning how to do it and experiencing the discomfort of not knowing. Once I'm good at something, if I love it, I'll keep going. But then I've learned it and I want to learn something else. With that mindset, it's inevitable that I want to live in another country because it is completely experiencing something new. You're always going to be learning. You're experiencing a new culture. You're experiencing a new language. You have to immerse yourself in this new way of life that's totally different than what you're used to. Everything is new. Everything requires you to become a different version of yourself. And nothing is more exciting to me than that. As someone who wants to learn multiple languages, being immersed in a culture that has a different language is the best way to do it. Having all of these random niche hobbies like music and architecture and writing and philosophy and fashion and art, I get to experience all of the things that I already know I love, but from the lens of a different culture and experience it in a completely new way. How fun is that? So on this channel, I've talked a little bit about my story with my dad and how he's kind of like this underlying theme in my life now, and how I'm really trying to continue on his legacy through this YouTube channel and the work that I'm doing. And so I want to share a little bit more about that now. So my dad was 45 years old when he was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. I was about 11, And when you're 11, you're like, oh, my parents are old, whatever. But now being 30, I'm thinking, I have friends who are 45 years old. Imagine being 45 and given a death sentence. He was told he had 6 months to 5 years to live. He ended up living till he was 65. And when he got that diagnosis, when anybody gets a diagnosis like that, you can either continue living the life you're on, the path you're on, or make changes and live for today and make the most out of it and do all the things you've wanted to do when you have a set amount of time left to live. And unfortunately, my dad kind of just kept doing his thing. He was a very hard worker. He worked Monday through Friday, and then Saturdays he worked half days. His big passion in life was working on houses and construction and flipping houses. He had some apartments, I remember when I was little, that he completely renovated and then was like a landlord. He completely built the house I grew up in all on his own. He flipped multiple other houses that he lived in the future, and he always wanted to have his own house flipping business. And he was so talented at it. He's not like the new house flippers that just kind of cut all the corners. He was so detailed. It was like an art form to him. He loved it. And then I think it was maybe 2017 or so where he realized he finally wanted to start this business. He had gotten like 15 extra years on his life that he didn't think he was going to have. So he was like, well, might as well start this business now. But around that time, his cancer did come back. He was in and out of treatment for a while. And then around 2020, like late 2020, we started to notice some things happening with his body. His speech was slurring. He was having a lot of falls. He didn't have any strength in his arms anymore. But then at the end of 2022, we learned that he had ALS. And this was when it was like a huge wake up call for him. Like, he only has about a year left to live. If you don't know what ALS is, it's like a disease that paralyzes all of your muscles. Usually starts with like your arms or your legs. My dad, it was his arms. So he couldn't lift his arms. His head eventually kind of couldn't hold itself up. A lot of people like choke to death, or their lungs are muscles, their esophagus is muscles, like your tongue is a muscle. So it's a very sad way to go, and especially as somebody who is such a hard worker, to see them like suffering and not being able to move and just be like stuck in their own body was so, I don't really have words for that, but it was just very, very dark metaphor, I guess. But when he was diagnosed with that, I was like, okay, now I have to absolutely start the citizenship through the descent process for Germany because it's through his line. I have to get all the information I can from him before he passes away. Otherwise, I'm going to be completely lost and not know anything. So every other weekend, I would get together with him and we would sit down in his living room. He'd be in his reclining chair and we would just be talking about his ancestors. And eventually, of course, it would naturally go into him talking about his childhood and his life and his teen years and the things that he had done and the things that he wished he had done. And during those conversations, so many things clicked for me that I don't know if he like intended for them to click for me, but it meant so much to me. He ended up telling me that some of his greatest regrets in life were not starting his business earlier in life, for also working all the time from like, I'm not kidding, like 3 a.m. to he'd get home around like 7 or 8 p.m. every single day and then work until like 1 p.m. on Saturdays. And he just told me he regretted missing so much of my childhood. And for what? Like, just to die in the end anyway. He said that he wished he had traveled, especially to Germany, but he also had never left the country. I don't even think he left the East Coast of the US. He really wished that he was able to have more experiences in life rather than just doing what he thought he should do, which is just work and then save, for retirement, like save up the best years of your life to travel and to do all the fun things for retirement. And the saddest thing was, he said to me, I really thought I had more time. And this is what really clicked for me, because he thought he had more time, but yet he was given 6 months to 5 years to live in the first place. And he was given all of this extra time. So it's not really about the time. We all have dreams, right? And you could say, I have all this time. I can do it in like 10 years. I could do it in 5 years. I could do it in when I'm retired. You are not guaranteed all that time. That is not something you know to be true. You truly don't know if you have that time. And it's not about the time. It's about the fear and the discomfort, because my dad had all of this extra time that he could have done all of these things. And only in like the last few years was he like, I can do this. Now I can do this. I want to start this business. And right as he started that path is when he started to get sick again. So you just don't know. And that's what really made me realize I have to do this now. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if the world's going to end in 5 years. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to get cancer when I'm 45. I don't know. And I don't care because I want to experience this dream that I've always had now. I want to make it happen now. I don't care if it doesn't work out. I don't care if, I hate it. I just want to experience it, try it. And if I fail, at least when I'm hopefully 90 years old on my deathbed looking back at life, I can say, I don't care that I failed because at least I did it. At least I tried. At least I gave it my all. During those conversations with my dad, those last like 6 months of his life, he was so supportive of like all of my business ideas. I've done a lot of things. I used to sell things on Etsy, and he was my number one supporter when it came to moving abroad as well. He wanted me to do it. He was so like, yes, you have to do it. You're going to make me and my grandma so proud. And there's a big difference between taking advice from your family and someone who is nearing the end of their life, because they will be so honest. They will tell you exactly what they want from you or what they think you're capable of without any like ulterior motive or any hesitation, because he's going to be like, yes, you have to do this. You have to fulfill your dream. You have to give it a shot. Whereas every other person that loves you is going to be like, I don't want you to go, but go and do it, Come back though. And for somebody who had so many regrets in life and kind of feeling like they learned too late in life what life truly is about, that's the advice I want to listen to. That's like the permission that I want to receive. And because of who he was and what he kind of experienced over those years of his life, he was always planting seeds in my mind to never settle for the American dream, because he knew that that was not my dream. He knew I always wanted to do my own thing, to have a real purpose in this world, to really be of service to people. He cared so much. He was so interested in everything I had to say. He was so intrigued with everything I had to share with him or anything I wanted to build or create in this world. And I really think it's because he didn't give himself that opportunity. And not only did that give me the confidence to really be able to give this move a shot, to really feel like I can accomplish this and do it, but also I'm now able to kind of see the world through my dad's eyes and see like, am I living for myself? Am I living for what life is truly about? Or am I just kind of following this path that is laid out for me that I don't want to follow, that I've never felt like I wanted to conform to? Am I living every single day to avoid living with regrets when I'm older or when I'm on my deathbed? Am I going to say, I'm so proud that I did that, that I tried that, even if it didn't work out, even if I hated it, even if I embarrassed myself, even if whatever, I'm so proud that I tried. You go, like good on you. You actually gave it a shot where most people wouldn't. So this is what I want you to walk away from this video thinking. I want you to live your life as if you are on your deathbed and you're 150 years old, right? Looking back on your life, what are you doing that is going to make that version of you so excited and so proud? And how can you avoid that version of yourself from having regrets? What can you do now to make sure that you're living the life you truly want, and one that's not just one you're told to live, or a life that's going to make your family happy but not you? What is it that you really, really want to do in this world? And how can you start taking action now and not thinking you have more time, because you really don't know? And that's the scary part about life. You just don't know. So, yeah, I hope that wasn't too heavy, but it is important to really go after the things that you want to, because those things that light you up inside, they're not just there for no reason. There's something in that for you. There's an experience waiting for you. There is a lesson in it waiting for you. There's magic in it for you. There's who knows what's on the other side of that, but I just encourage you all to take that shot. And if you're watching this video, it might be about moving abroad, and I don't want you to live with any regrets of never getting the chance to do that. Remember, just tell yourself it doesn't have to be forever. If you're scared, it doesn't have to be forever. Just go for a little while and see how you like it. Give yourself the permission to be able to come home if you don't like it, and go because it's truly what you want to do. So let me know if this resonated with you. Subscribe if you're not already. I'm moving abroad in fall of 2026, and it's crazy that it's almost already 2026 and the fear is really setting in, but it's happening, and I have you guys here to hold me accountable to actually make it happen. There are church bells ringing now. It's a very snowy day outside, so I'm going to go enjoy that. Leave a comment down below letting me know what your 105-year-old self would be saying about you right now. And give this a thumbs up, and I will see you next week with another video. Bye!